Good afternoon, everyone. This is Community Chats out of Montefiore Nyack Hospital, and I am your host, Sandra Arevalo, Director of Community Health and Wellness. Today, we're going to be talking about a very sensitive matter, but this matter is very important because during this talk, we're going to invite you to learn about the signs of domestic violence. We might be living with a person that we is giving us some signs and we don't know until later. We might be dating a person who might be showing some signs and we're unaware. And God forbid, we get into a long-term relationship with a person like this. So that's why it is important to learn about domestic violence and what it looks like before we get into a relationship that is going to affect our lives, not just physically, but also emotionally. So to speak about domestic violence today, our expert, Amira Banerjee, did I say it right? Uh, she's from Center of Safety and Change, which is this great organization in Rockland County that actually helps different families who have been victims of domestic violence. And the reason I'm saying families is because the same way that there are women who are affected by domestic violence, so are men, and so are their children, and even their pets, believe me. So Center for Safety and Change takes care of these families, being the head of the household, their children, and their pets. And they do beautiful work educating all of our families, males and females, and also teenagers and anyone who needs to know this information about learning how to recognize signs of domestic violence and be, aware and healthy and avoid, people like this. So, Amira, thank you so much for being with us today. It's not the first time you join Community Chats because she's an expert. So we have to bring her every time here to talk
Thank
about
you.
domestic violence. And you will see her in many more community chats if you're interested in this topic. So thank you so much for attending our invitation once again. And I know that you put together a nice presentation. So whenever you're ready to start.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sandra, for actually inviting Center for Safety and Change. This is my second time on this webinar, and also for you to create this powerful platform, a platform which is reaching out to several people in the community at one time, and also having the resource of being available on the web for people to connect with even at later stage so that they can take advantage of the resource. So thank you very much to you, and thanks a lot to the Montefiore health system, which is very closely connected with Center for Safety and Change. In my previous webinar, Sandra, I remember that we had spoken about all the services that we offer for the community. But just to give a little gist of that, that Center for Safety and Change has been in existence in Rockland County for the past 45 years. We are not for profit, and we serve victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, sexual harassment, human trafficking, and other crimes. The amazing thing about Center for Safety is that we have a 24 hours hotline which always has a dedicated advocate on the other side, 365 days. And that person is trained to really connect whoever is calling at any given point of time of the day or night to the right resource so that they can get help right away and the crime is not connected.
Mhm.
So we also have a family shelter, which is, at an undisclosed address, a pet safety shelter, which is again at an undisclosed address. Reason being that we have to always make sure that safety planning is the biggest concern for anyone who is being abused and violated. And of course, we have many other services. I will request people to go on to the. I'm noticing that there is some tech issue that the.
I think we're okay. Yeah, we're listening. We are hearing you well.
Are you seeing the slides moving? They are not moving, right?
Oh, they're not moving though. Yeah.
Mhm. Let me see. Yes, there we go. So we are, this is the number, which is a great resource for all of you to keep handy, which is 845-634-3344. If all of you want, you can take a screenshot of this and keep this as a resource. And please share with family and friends just for them to keep it handy, to give a call. Hopefully, one doesn't need to, but whenever there is a need. So these are some of the services that we have already discussed it at length. So I will not go into details, but if you go into our website, which is www.centerforsafetyandschange.org, you will be able to see all the services that we offer, not only the interventional services, but also the preventive services that we give.
And
Like
this is information that is not just good for each one of us, but you never know when you need it for a neighbor, for a friend, or someone
absolutely,
that might be in need, and then you're gonna know where to send them for help. And let me ask you
absolutely,
something, Amira, that just occurred to me. If you think you are in a domestic violence situation, but you're not sure, can you still call that number to help
absolutely.
you figure it out?
Absolutely. That's the reason why I'm saying that this resource is not only for a crisis or, there's a serious, any question which is related to even simple thing like, if somebody wants to ask something about a dating relationship, stepping into an intimate partner relationship, or about immigration, or about certain feelings that is this right or is this not right? Am I of age? Am I not of age? What are the things? All of those answers are available because we have trained advocates who would. Also, another big thing is that you do not have to disclose your identity if you do not wish to.
Mhm,
And there is no way that we keep a track or anything like that. If you wish to disclose, then you could do, and then the advocates, of course, do a proper intake. So the number is available for anyone to call with a complex question or a simple question or a serious situation.
mhm.
Um, so once again, my name is Amita Banerjee. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm the manager of community outreach and the liaison to the South Asian communities. The amazing thing about Center for Safety and Change is that language is never really a barrier at our base. If anybody calls with any language, whether it is Creole, whether it's French, whether it's Spanish, whether it is Hindi, Urdu, Bengali, every language is spoken and people are met at their point of comfort. So we have liaisons to pretty much every community and every language and every culture. So, October happens to be the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we've just embarked on it. So there's another reason why I really want to thank you, Sandra, for giving me an opportunity in October to talk about domestic violence. As we talk about domestic violence, of course, it's a very hard, it's a difficult topic. So I do want to say that if there are any issues, any triggers, please feel free to take some time away from this presentation. Um, Talk to someone who you trust. If you're young, a trusted adult, drink some water. And if there are any questions, always feel free to give us a call. We of course advocate and we think about healthy relationships. So we think that what is healthy relationships? We talk about intimate partner relationship where the partners have respect, they have trust, and there is love, and there is a collaboration between them, where they know that there is equality and there is respect and there is a mutual understanding. Of course, one can have difference of opinions, it is always there, but as two adults, but at the same time, there can be a healthy conversation to really conclude or come to a mutual understanding. That is a healthy relationship. to the contrary, that what domestic violence is, which is also called intimate partner violence, is a behavior in which one partner um, uses power and control to maintain the power and control over the other partner. And the domestic violence is characterized, of course, by, very many ways. It is so very often we hear from victims who get in touch with us that the my partner does not actually physically hurt me. He is not beating me. So in the context, there's an understanding in the mind that domestic violence is only when there is physical or sexual violence, which is really not the case because domestic violence is can be abuse can be many different kinds. For example, there is emotional and psychological abuse. Now, emotional and psychological abuse can be different kinds. It can be verbal, like somebody can be using abusive words, and even to the extent of intimidating a person, your partner, by with a loud noise or by breaking something or shattering something or just creating that fear or shattering someone's or demeaning someone's confidence, shattering someone's confidence by saying things like you're ugly, you're fat, you speak like this, you walk like this, you talk like this, your clothing are like this, you smell like this. All of these are demeaning factors which can lead to the person feeling fearful and intimidated. There can be abusive words that are used. There can be a situation where somebody just gives you a nudge or push, or make the person feel that there needs to be like a threat around them. Economic deprivation, which is like financial abuse, which is very common, that the partner controls all the finances. So the other partner actually cannot make any choices, really cannot take a decision, or wants to go somewhere, wants to buy something. For everything, there has to be a permission that has to be taken from the other the other partner who is the controlling partner. And of course, when it comes to um, uh, the physical and sexual abuse, that is something that is visible, but all these kind of abuses, which are financial, which are emotional, which are verbal, these are the abuses that are subtle and not visible, but at the same time, the intimate partner who has the control and the power is systematically very using all these tactics in a very deliberate way to continue with the abuse and the control. And this leads to what we call is an unequal balance in the relationship. So who can experience domestic violence? Everyone can experience domestic violence, any age, any community, any language, any religion, any gender, any sexual orientation, whether you're married, whether you're not married, whether you have a live-in or you're in a dating situation. Um, all genders, all socioeconomic backgrounds and education levels, in every level in our 45 years of existence, we have realized that nobody really gets in the spectrum, gets spared of domestic violence and can experience domestic violence. The statistics are, of course, very alarming. Um, Nearly 1 in 2 women in the US face physical violence from an intimate partner. And this is growing, continuously growing. And the LGBTQ community experiences domestic violence and intimate partner violence. dating intimate partners who are in colleges, in high schools. Pretty much the statistics say that anyone who is um, in their lifetime once or more actually experiences uh, violence and abuse. And it is not necessary that you have to be married for that. Anyone who is in an intimate partner relationship um, can experience domestic violence. So, abusers actually use different kinds of tactics um, to have to place the blame on the victim or deny their behavior and to control the partner and to keep them away from the relationships of trust. So there are everybody would have a relationship of trust. Could be their siblings, could be their parents, could be people who are in their community or a trusted adult, and the perpetrator will always make sure to keep them away from that relationship of trust. The reason being is that they do not want that there should be any kind of power and control from any other relationship, but except for them. So they will use tactics like threats and intimidation, emotional abuse, isolation, blaming. Blaming is very, very common. That is because of you that this happened. If you had not done this, if you hadn't worn clothes like this wouldn't happen. If you hadn't spoken to me like this, it would not have happened. So that's why at Center for Safety and Change, we are always believing in the victim. When that's the key thing, that we always trust and believe the victim. And because that's what the victim is never believed. There is always a blame that you were the one who did this. That's why this happened to you. So often, adults or elders or children are used to create fear. Pets are used to create fear and economic abuse, as I said before. But there is financial control. And this stems from what we call as male privileges, of course, because it is in the statistics, even though there are the occasions where men experience violence and abuse. Absolutely, they do. But if you see the ratio, it is women who are abused the most because it is considered to be that the men have the ability of power and control in every and any relationship. So that's why we use this, what we call as the power and control wheel, just to have an understanding that what I was talking about was the ways and means which are not visible and are subtle, which are using of coercion and threat, like giving a feeling to the partner that if you don't do this, then we are not going to talk ever. So it's like, using the tactics of silence, that I'm not going to be talking. So the person stops taking calls, the person stops texting as if there's, or, even going to extremes like, I'm not going to see you ever again. We are breaking off. Or, if you don't do this for me, then I'm going to die. So these are the kind of threats that the other partner succumbs to, or using um, um, things like using a loud voice, or destroying the property, breaking things, or just even simple thing like not using the weapon but displaying the weapon, which can create that anxiety and fear. Using emotional abuse, which is um, calling them by names, giving them, humiliating them in front of people, demeaning them in front of people, kind of crushing their confidence, or making them feel guilty by putting the blame on them. So all of these are emotional tactics that they use to keep that power and control going. Using isolation tactics is very common. Very slowly but surely, the partner will say that, you know, if you meet that person is not good for a relationship. And that person is destroying a relationship. That you think that the person is your best friend, but actually that person is not. They are doing everything possible to keep us away. And then very slowly that narrative gets so powerful into the mind that they start thinking that, oh yes, maybe this person is actually not good for a relationship. And very slowly, they start to isolate themselves. So it's very important that if you see someone who was very close to you or would be going out with you in your friend circle or your family or your siblings, and you suddenly see that the person is isolating themselves, that's surely orange flag. And that can lead to something serious. So it's good to, at that time, show the concern or have a conversation. Is there something going on? Do you need any help? Do you have any questions? Or, say that if you don't want to talk to me, I have somewhere you can call, and then you can share the number of Center for Safety and Change, and we are there to help. Sometimes they minimize and deny and blame by shifting responsibilities of abusive behavior. And children are used, children are hurt, children are, reprimanded or loud voice or screamed at, pets are used. So, using all these tactics, deliberate tactics, to keep that power and control. Using economic abuse, as I said, is very common where they take away their money. They make sure that the income is kept at a point where you have to be answerable for everything that you spend. You have no, credit card or debit card. You do not have access to banking or to the bank account. And for everything, you have to really ask your intimate partner. And that leads to a kind of a control where you feel, because when a person, the statistics say that it takes about 8 times for someone to come out of an abusive relationship. So imagine somebody who is already in an abusive relationship, who's experiencing some kind of, violence, is wanting and thinking about leaving that relationship, but actually cannot, takes about 8 times, because of the simple reason that one big constraint can be no financial freedom. Because somebody who's taking that step would obviously want to ensure that, family is taken care of, children are taken care of. There is food, there is shelter, there is a roof above your head. And all of these are constraints which make the person feel again and again that no, I think there is hope. I think I should make some compromises. Maybe I should rethink. Using male privileges is very, very common, because there's like a way that you'll be treated. The partner is treated like, making all big decisions by themselves, as if that they are the master of the home, and they are the ones who have to take all decisions. No decisions can be taken without their permission. And to define roles, like, who defines the roles? This is what I can do. This is you cook, you clean, you wash, you take the kids here. You're going to meet so and so. You're not going to meet so and so. I'm the one who's going to talk to this person. You will not talk to this person. So all these roles that are defined are using the male privileges to actually keep the power and control going. And of course, outside of the wheel, as you see, these are the visible signs of abuse and violence, and that is um, physical violence and sexual violence, which is um, so which leads to, I mean, the subtle, not so visible abuses are the ones which ultimately lead to the visible signs of violence, physical and sexual violence. There's one thing which is very common that has come up nowadays, and that is currently, especially with the youth and with the younger people, also of all ages, actually, is what we call is the digital dating abuse. And of course, we are not going to go so much into details about it, but there we do have what we call is our community youth education department, which is led by Jay Ortiz, and he at some point will be very happy to come and present about dating abuse and give the youth a clearer perspective about what digital dating abuse is. And this so many times has been seen also stems from human trafficking, sex trafficking, labor trafficking. So it's digital dating abuse is actually the use of technology, such as texting and social networking, to bully, to harass, to stalk, to intimidate the partner. And often this form of behavior is what leads to verbal and emotional abuse and control, and can lead to uh, and can form of emotional abuse, and it can then lead to a lot of threats and a lot of pressures on the intimate partner, who can be, the use of technology to gain control. So you tell someone who can or cannot connect with on social media, the person sends negative, insulting, or even threatening messages online, uses softwares and apps to keep tab, and that's like stalking, but doing like digital stalking, which is very common. And you put down the status of the um, person and stealing passwords, constantly texting, which is also part of, like a harassment, and making sure that, the phone is constantly kept on the person so that they will be able to keep tabs, to check pictures and texts, and making sure that the phones are checked, to send explicit pictures and to demand that the same should be returned, to send pressures to send explicit videos and uploading them sometimes and sharing them without the consent of the other person. So these are very common um, ways to digitally also abuse, harass, and create threats to their partner. The red flags that are very common in domestic violence are to criticize, humiliate in front of other people, scare them with violence, or threaten them, to control them by saying that, what they can wear, how they can keep their hair, and prevent them for going out, or, that there is a certain kind of job that you can do or you cannot do, or even seeing friends or family, and there is a control that, you cannot meet your family, you cannot meet your friends. Um, and so these are serious red flags, because these are the things that lead to isolation. It can lead to person feeling that now there's no one to reach out to. And at that point, what happens is that the victim starts to think that now there's no hope. And, I might as well start to adjust to the situation. Or you start to normalize all this by thinking that, oh, this is all normal. So there, because there is no accountability, so it kind of becomes like normal behaviors, patterns that you succumb to. Um, in the context that you actually start to um, feel afraid to break away from your partner. And so um, I will talk about some more red flags here. When you feel nervous or fearful in the relationship, so, as I said, that an healthy, intimate partner relationship is about trust, respect, love, and collaborating together to mutually grow and advance, right? So that's the healthy relationship. But the moment you start feeling nervous or fearful in that relationship, when you try to control the behavior to avoid angering your partner, that, oh my God, no, I will not do this, otherwise he will be very angry, or you for the slightest thing feel that you're really walking on eggshells, you feel very afraid to say no to sex, you feel afraid to break up with their partner, or you feel as if the world has become smaller because obviously you feel that there is nobody to reach out to. And that's the reason why at Center for Safety and Change, our biggest thing is to our mission is to always believe the victim and to make sure that there is support right from the beginning to the end. So we never actually leave the survivor's hand. We make sure that even after, when they feel much more settled and grounded, whether it is court accompaniment, whether it is legal help, whether it's documentation, whether it is transportation, whether it is transitional housing to look for housing, or to make sure that there is support with job interviews and anything, or immigration or legal help, we make sure that we are there, whether it's food, fresh foods, groceries, clothing, everything is given, is supported by Center for Safety and Change. The ability to give the survivor, the victim or survivor, the choice, uh, to the freedom of making the choice, and the ability to feel that there is support and there is strength. So, um, of course, as I said, even before I had said that, um, people who are adults are thinking differently, and they can have their difference of opinions, which is actually considered to be healthy. No two people can always think alike. They can think different, but what is very important that there is a place where you can fearlessly be able to, with equality, with respect and love, be able to have a conversation and conclude that conversation with mutual respect and understanding. There is an um, unequal balance of power when one person is in fear of the other partner. So obviously, the opposite of that will be the healthy relationship where there is no fear, and there is a point where you can actually have a healthy discussion. Um, so, so many times this question has come up, and it very often does when people say that, oh, so why don't um, people just leave? Why does one have to be in an abusive relationship? And it is very unfortunate, as I said before, that it takes about 8 times for someone to come out of an abusive relationship. It's a very difficult decision to take. Um, it is much more complicated to leave than, and it is a person who is going through that situation of abuse and violence can be the best person to conclude whether it is safe right now, because the safety of that person is all the key and the most important. Is it is safe for that person to be in that relationship or to take that step to come out of that relationship? Sometimes it is very dangerous also. When a victim leaves, they're actually taking away the control from the perpetrator or the partner who has got the power and control, and that causes the abusive partner to retaliate in very many ways, sometimes in very destructive ways. That's why at Center for Safety and Change, our safety planning is very important, very key, and we do it uniquely according to every victims and survivors' needs. That's why our shelter is an undisclosed place, our pet safety is undisclosed address, and all the other aspects are taken care of because that's part of our safety planning. Um, the person leaves their abusive partner, the abuser may follow them through, can hurt them. They can also ruin the victim's financial ability. There, it has been seen, the statistics show that between 50% and 75% of domestic violence homicides happen at the point of separation or when the victim has left their abuser. So, and harm is not only done to the victim, harm is also done to sometimes family members, friends, neighbors, friends, people who intervene. So it's very important that this is very well thought of. And everybody's situation is unique. Nobody can pressurize anyone to leave the abusive relationship, but we can certainly use our abilities to give the support to make the person feel that there is someone who's there to make them feel safe and take that brave space. So there are the reasons why also, some of the reasons can be a person cannot leave the relationship is because they think that what will people think, which is huge because there's the society's pressure that they demean people, and then they, so the confidence really sometimes gets shattered. They're afraid to be on their own. They constantly think what people will think. There also is that, will I ever be in any another relationship? Will I find someone else? And so this can be a big constraint to be, if someone is from the LGBTQ plus community, then there is fear of being outed, there is embarrassment or shame, low self-esteem. The people are constantly put down, especially the perpetrator, the abuser will constantly put someone down and put the blame and say that, I'll go and say that you were the one who did this, and it was because of you this happened. So the person goes into fear, thinking that I will be more put at blame, and doesn't take that step. There's this hope that the violence will stop, and there will be, there's a feeling that the victim still. So it's very important not to put down the abuser, because a victim can constantly feel that the abuser still loves the partner, and the victim can also feel that there is hope, and because of that hope, that no, this is going to change, this person will change. There are cultural and religious reasons, of course, which are big barriers, and immigration status, where people think that their status is going to go if there is any kind of reporting, and the abuser also creates that fear that if you do this, then I'll make sure that your immigration status goes. You can have the fear of losing your children. You can have the fear of just going to leave the country without your family and children. There are of course, lack of financial resources and any kind of disability adds on to it. And that's the reason why we, at Center for Safety and Change, we make sure that all our services, each and every service, is 100% free and 100% confidential because we understand that the victim can be going through so much of financial constraint and not having the ability to take those major steps. And so we ensure that we are giving them that support in at every step. Of course, there's a lot of underreporting that goes. The statistics that we have given are very alarming, but unfortunately, there is underreporting because there is so much of fear. There is there is personal privacies, which people think that, oh no, if I talk about this, then there will be more shame, there will be more blame, and also, the victim keeps protecting the abuser by thinking that no, he is going to change, everything is going to be fine. So there's underreporting even in the case when there is violence against minors. So we make sure that we are uh, there to give support, even though there's so much of underreporting that goes. Um, I know that we are kind of uh, coming close to our end time, but I do want to say that for all the things that happen uh, around us, violence and crime and numbers have gone up, and the population has gone up in Rockland County. We've been there for 45 years. We started as the Rockland Family Shelter. Now we are Center for Safety and Change, and we are serving the community wholeheartedly, and we would love for all of you to know that it's a great resource that we are here. Our hotline number is available 24 hours, 365 days. 845-634-334 is a great number to have with you. Please go on our website. We also have a 24 hours text line. We also have a 24 hours web line. So please feel free. And whenever there is any issue, small or big, we are there to help. On December 17th, October 17th, my apologies, October 17th, we are doing the Shine the Light, where we walk across the Mario Como Bridge, joining hands with our partners in Westchester County. And we express our solidarity to the victims and survivors of domestic violence. We receive great support from the community, and we are hoping that Sandra, of course, has shared the flyer with everyone and has also put it up on their website. And we are hoping at Center for Safety and Change for all of you from the community to join us in this effort to create that mindfulness and awareness where there is no hate, no violence, no abuse, and we can promote and advocate healthy relationships. With that note, I will say thank you very much, Sandra, for giving us this opportunity and giving us this platform. And we look forward to continuing our work with you and hoping that next time we can come up with another topic to have an amazing webinar. Thank you very much. Sandra, I was hoping that if there are any questions, um, you can let me know, um, or if there are any questions from the webinar chat, you can let me know. I'll be very happy to address them.
Yeah. Hi, Amira. Thank you so much. I don't know why my video. Oh, finally. Okay. Thank you so much for your presentation. Very informative.
Thank you so much.
I do have two follow-up questions. One, can there be love when there is abuse? You know, many people think like, oh, well, but he or she loves me and is just that type of love. And, you know, a lot of people who are in abusive relationships are looking for that love, you know, to be reciprocated. So how do you manage that differentiation between love and abuse?
Um, The thing is, Sandra, that very often it is noticed that these are the kind of disruptive tactics that the abuser uses to make sure that the victim stays in the relationship. You know, whether it is blaming or isolation or intimidation or creating threats or, you know, even keeping the person away from financial freedom. All of
Mhm,
these are, and these are not visible abuses, right? These are all subtle abuses, but it kind of creates that imbalance in that power and control. So, that's what is domestic violence, right? When one partner is actually keeping that power and control in their hand. And that hope continues because the abuser will keep on saying, "Oh, this is the last time. Trust me. I love you
mhm,
so much. I will never do this again." And so the victim keeps on thinking, "Oh, so there's hope. There's hope." Till such time that that subtle and that invisible way of abusing kind of comes out as physical abuse and sexual abuse.
mhm,
So by the time they normalize it so much that sometimes the victim actually starts to say that, "Oh, so what? I mean, everyone will do that. At least
mhm.
he does not hit me, but you know, he does. So what if he said this?" So it's like, you know, they also start to normalize it.
Yeah.
But I think as humans, Sandra, all of us really cherish bonding, we cherish love, we cherish healthy relationships, and that's the reason why, you know, at Center for Safety and Change, we have this whole department dedicated to prevention, which is training, outreach, education, and social change, where, you know, like our director, who is also the president of NAACP NICE chapter, is dedicated for this social change, where, you know, we make sure that we go out into schools, we go out into college campuses, and we um, tell people that how they can identify the orange and the red flags, and that they see the green flags more clear when when they know the orange and the red flags.
Mhm.
So that's our hope, that, you know, we create a community which is free of violence and abuse.
Yeah. And we have a comment here. It's like this person didn't know that threatening with suicide was actually a form of domestic abuse. And then again, it's like you can disguise domestic abuse in so many different
In
ways.
so many
You
different.
can, as you just said, you know, you normalize the situation. You think, oh no, but that happens all the time. And that's, I think that what's most important is to learn how we feel, right?
Exactly.
If I feel there is something wrong, I feel threatened, if I feel uncomfortable, if I feel that I cannot get out of that situation and I'm not in a good situation, that I'm feeling
Correct.
that I'm not in a good situation. You know, it's always good to pause and in call center for safety and share your experience and be like, okay, you know,
Yes,
is this normal? Is this right?
absolutely.
Because sometimes we don't know. And for many families, domestic violence is a generational thing as well as a cultural thing, right?
Yeah,
So it's like, well, my mom was the same, my father was the same, my uncles and my grandmother,
Yes.
and that doesn't mean that it's a good relationship. It's just like
Yeah, that's
cultural.
how we normalize it sometimes, and even this aspect of, the it's like a subtle way of creating that threat and fear that, I'm going to leave you or I'm going to die. I love you so much. If you talk to that person or if you go and tell everything to your parents, I'm going to commit suicide. I can't live without you. So the abuser actually tries to give the shape of the feeling of love, and but in reality it is actually the onset of creating that intimidation and the fear and the threat, so that then the victim actually starts to do everything that the abuser wants to, with this, that, oh, what if he leaves me, what if he dies, so everything is to be, these are the signs that we should be very mindful and aware about. And of course, as you correctly said, we are here just for this, that, and every service of ours is free. And everybody is so trained over here that we have also group counseling, we have counseling, we have group support system, where there are support groups and people can, of course, take the help.
And it's good to remember that never a question is a bad question, right? Just asking the question to see if that what you find really weird is really normal or not. It's enough. It's good to start sharing
Yes,
your feelings and your experiences with experts, and that's why Center for Safety and Change is there. To provide that expertise necessary to help us move out or of a bad relationship or stay in a relationship that it's pretty okay. And
yes,
they will be able
absolutely.
to tell us, no, that's normal.
Right,
You
right.
can
And
stay there.
the other very, very good point that you've come up with, Sandra, is that in that moment you might feel that you are not feeling safe, or you're not being able to make your choices. And that itself is one big reason to feel that, why am I not feeling comfortable in this relationship? Why can I not say what I want to say? That is a certain way of thinking and rethinking and asking that question. And very important for everyone is really to build trusted relationships. Have a trusted relationship with someone where, you can feel safe to talk about everything.
Mhm. Well, I think we ran out of time, and we always
Yes.
think that we're gonna use less than an hour. But when it
Yes,
comes to domestic violence, we always have so much to talk about.
indeed.
So thank you so much to our attendees for joining us. Amira, it's always lovely to have you here. Thank
Thank you so much.
you for sharing
Likewise.
your expertise with us. And if you like this community chat, please, once it's up in the library, in our YouTube library called Community Chats Multiplanaya, just share it or watch it again. And this is how we actually bring information to our community. So thank you so much. And next week, we're going to shift completely of topics, and we're going to talk about hair loss and what to do to avoid hair loss for both males and women. So a little beauty also comes a
Of
long
course.
way, right? So thank you so much for joining. And thank you again, Amira. Pleasure to
Thank you.
see you.
Pleasure to see you too. Thank you very much,
Bye
Sandra.
bye, everyone.